You're listening to 1069 Click FM, live in color.
I don't even know. I really don't. Between having to get the last of my writing into the teleprompter and this thing deciding that she needs more attention and to step all over the desk, I don't know where I am anymore. Okay, well, we've got Dan the Cornman in here today, along with True North, William, Sticks, Tyler, all sorts of people. I even see Foster here for another Friday at 4 p.m. So that must mean it's Ass Talk, where we go through the noxious cloud of sports prognostication to find a few little nuggets of truth. I'm your host, Jim B. I'd like to thank you all for being here. Hope that your Friday has been going well, whether it has been, a day off after seeing the amazing spectacle that was the NFL draft last night, or whether you're just lucky enough to have a holiday off anyway. Hello, Sean. You might be able to hear Monty singing the song of his people back there. He desperately wants to go out. Yeah. I saw that you did draft a defensive end. I think that should work out well for you. I hope everybody is well fed, hydrated. Before we do start with the talk 'em abouts, I want to hear from you, specifically for your teams. I know I won't ask for Luke because he's made his feelings known about the Packers picking Lucas Van Ness. He's not happy with it, for the record. How do you think your team did, and what comes next, do you think, in the second and third rounds? Dan, who is your team? Because I am drawing a blank off the top of my head. Felix Anudike Uzma? Is that how you say it? Oh yeah, the 49ers. Yeah, y'all have a big break coming up, don't you? You don't have any picks, I think, until the third round? Is that correct? And so once you get there, Dan, is there any particular position that you think they'll be focusing on? I do feel bad, by the way, that y'all are kind of in QB hell right now. Oh, Sean says he wanted to take Carter at 5, but Witherspoon is a good pick. Yeah, I've heard great things about Witherspoon. Yeah, JSN, complete with Lockett and Metcalf. You all are going to be a nightmare to deal with in pass coverage. William is glad they ended up addressing cornerback, even though he wanted a receiver. Sean thinks the next two picks for Seattle will be tight end and edge. He's looking for Mayer or Washington. Yeah, I also saw that, Tyler. Not only is he playing for Kansas City, but he grew up a Kansas City fan. And True North is happy because they used pick 13 on a premium position, edge. Yeah. Can't wait to have to deal with them a couple times a season. And I look at, honestly, I think the Lucas Van Ness thing is a good thing for the Packers. I kind of see him as a now green and gold version of James Houston. We don't play him all the time, but we depend on some of that explosive power to get us a stop or a sack in those opportune moments. And Luke says if they don't end up with Darnell Washington, this is a total failure. All right. You say, Dan says Van Ness was picked at the wrong spot. So where would you say would have been the ideal spot to pick somebody like Van Ness? Well, they should have picked Will Levis, but it was one of those. It was like that one old Simpsons episode where Bart runs for student government president and nobody votes for him because they just assumed everybody else would. I think it's the same way with Will Levis, that nobody picked him because they just assumed everybody else would. He played hockey and had 56 penalty minutes. Yeah, in one game. Yeah, Levis might actually fall to the third. That could lead to some interesting possibilities. First pick in the second round. Patriots were going to take Van Ness after the Packers, so that's why they traded out when he got picked, says True North. The hockey is literally the only thing I love about him. Everything else is a no-no. Oh, all right. Sorry, just getting my last whatchamacallit plugged in. Great. And Monty is, of course, moving out of range for pets. Hello, Mr. Pizzle. Hope you enjoyed your break during the first round yesterday and that you're ready to get back in the action. Oh yeah, I did see that the Bucks got eliminated by the Heat and Jimmy Butler with that falling down shot to take the game into overtime. Oh yeah, I saw Dalton Kincaid falling down the board and the Bills were the first one to pick him up. Logan thinks that they're going to go tight end, wide receiver, and safety in tonight's draft. So Logan, y'all have 3 picks over the space of round 2 and 3. I don't know how many you guys had normally or if it changed within all the trades that you did. Honestly, I think the Texans made a great move. I think out of all of the teams that picked yesterday, and I'm going to just look over them quickly so that I can refresh. Yeah, honestly, getting CJ Stroud and then trading up again with more of their picks to get Will Anderson, that is a fantastic job by the Texans. I know that the other members of the AFC South are probably fuming right now, so that means that the Texans have done their job. Grayson Allen is probably still a Euro stepping, Luke. Once you get started, man, it's real hard to give up. 2 seconds and a third. Okay. All right. And True North thinks that Logan's probably correct, but a great safety might not be available. Is Brian Branch still available? I keep thinking that I saw his name get mentioned, but I think that just might have been people asking why is Brian Branch still available and not him actually going to a team. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, as the night was going on, it was different different mods from different parts of the chat saying, please let us get Brian Branch. Please let us get Brian Branch. Or please not Will Levis. Please not Will Levis. I was rooting for Will Levis because, well, chaos. But I understand not everybody wants that particular flavor added to their team roster. Now, let me take a look, because I wanted to verify something for my own brain. That's right. We only have one winner in the so far has gone on to the next round of the NHL playoffs, but the NBA playoffs, meanwhile, woo, huh, they are nearly set. Miami versus New York. Miami of all people. Unfortunately, we will not get the rematch that I wanted between Miami Jimmy Butler versus Minnesota because the Timberwolves got knocked out by the Denver Nuggets. So Denver, you got Phoenix. Try not to screw this up. Although I have a feeling that's just going to be Denver walking away with that one as well. Philadelphia, Boston. I don't know, man. I really don't know about that series. I think I'm going to need to check out at least one or two of those games. Yeah, I did see that they didn't take care of business, Dan, but that's about all I saw. I was kind of looking at other things at the moment. And hello, Mr. Ron. Hey, maybe that's why the New York Jets took him, because the Winnipeg Jets couldn't do anything with him, not even goal. Hey, it was enough for you guys to win a Super Bowl last year. You know, as long as you don't make any major losses, I think y'all should be fine. That is Kansas City I'm speaking of. No, I understand, Luke. This can be kind of overwhelming, especially if it's not the best news. Today, now that I saw the headline that DeAndre Swift and his people are actively looking for another team to go to, is like, okay, the writing might have been on the wall for a while with this one. Okay, there could be some logic. Jack Campbell, I'm glad that they addressed linebacker. I am happy they were thinking of the position. But aside from the fact that his name is Jack Campbell, I know absolutely nothing about him. Like I said, I barely learn a couple of players' names, much less like dive deep into tape like a lot of other channels do. I honestly just try to keep up and, learn as I go. It's only just recently that I've gotten into doing this more on a full-time basis. So I'm doing my best and just making up with my winning personality. Jack Campbell was teammates with Lucas Van Ness. Yeah, they were both over at Iowa, right? That's what I thought. Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to the rest of the Sacramento Golden State series. Not so much Memphis LA Lakers, because Memphis, you have disappointed the hell out of me. I don't think the Leafs will choke this away. They shouldn't. Let me make that clear. The Leafs shouldn't choke their series against the Lightning away. The Lightning are very injured. The Toronto has been dominant. in most of the series, and then again, apparently Florida still hasn't gotten the Boston 3 memo because they're still alive, trailing 3-2 in that series. And it's the same story for New York, sticking around against Carolina, and New Jersey now leading the New York Rangers 3-2, Edmonton leading the Kings 3-2. The hell is going on? The hell is going on? And Seattle over the Avalanche. The only thing that feels like an upholding of the status quo right now is Dallas beating Minnesota 3-2 in their series. Do you have anything constructive to add, Angie? Really? Anything else? Are you sure? All right. I suppose we will leave it at that. Well, and first, Angie has already been fed. Thank you for your concern. Angie is usually mad, but she did have a moment of respite last night. She wanted the Chargers to take a wide receiver for some reason. I think her view on it is that Mike Williams already has a foot out the door after that coaching decision by Staley that led to him getting injured. Imagine being Will Anderson, seeing Stroud go to Houston, thinking you dodged a bullet, then seeing Houston trade back up. Hey, none of us saw, I don't think any of us saw it coming either. Yeah, Adam, hopefully y'all will make it 3-3 tonight. I'm rooting for you. I am. The Jags panicking yesterday. I didn't really think anything like that. Dan, what was there anything particularly that happened yesterday in regards like panics or moves that were made? Because I don't have a completely itemized list in front of me. Was there something that they did that made you think they did panic? And yeah, the Bills did move up, didn't they, to get Kincaid. Yeah. So, now that I've heard from all of you, I think it is about time to share what I feel are going to be my ill-informed draft grades and predictions for the teams and the rookies they drafted. They traded down one spot and then traded down 2 spots with like 2 minutes left on the clock. You know what? I think I'm gonna wait and then reserve judgment on the Jaguars until about the middle of the season. Go make a note for myself. And remind myself to check on Jags rookies drafted in week 8, along with overall state of team. According to RGM, the deal with the Jags was in place all day. Oh. Yeah, I mean, they throw in commercial breaks for everything else in the draft. Time is an illusion. It's like the same feeling whenever you go to a casino and because they don't have any clocks, you're not really sure how long you're in there for, and there are also no windows, so there's no sense of daylight and time passing. It's the same as the draft. They want you to kind of lose track of what is forwards and backwards and yesterday and all that. All right. You know what? I think that's a question that I'm not even going to bother to answer. Usually, I think whenever a trade down happens, it's because they realized they couldn't get the player they wanted, and then decide to get back for another position that they knew they could fill, and they'd have a better chance of getting. Maybe that's it. Now, why did the Arizona Cardinals lose their pick in the third round? It was because of the tampering, correct? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they swapped picks with the Eagles after the Cardinals had impermissible contact with Jonathan Gannon during their recent coaching search. Let me see which third round they got rid of. Their third round pick was originally this number 66 overall selection, but they will now select at 94. The Cardinals also received the Eagles' fifth round pick as part of the agreement. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised that about a lot of people trying to trade up. You know, there's still a lot of great people on the board. I think that's why the Lions were stocking up for second round picks, honestly. Mm-hmm. All right. So, as for the rest of the news, I'm out. I'm only give you what I was able to barely find about these players, what the basics of how they could fit into the team, and just whether it will lead to success in the immediate or near future. So, from the top, as best I could, trying to keep order with everything else that was changing around, draft grades, and immediate predictions. All right. For Carolina, Bryce Young. He falls out of favor with Coach Frank Reich after making a glaring rookie mistake and not letting Coach Reich win at the game of Uno. Now, Andy Dalton laughs at his successful deception of the rookie, and then he gets thwarted when he ends up at number 3 in the depth chart behind Matt Corral and Chris Hemsworth. So for the start, now the Texans started their 2023 season. C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson do start. But in the first minute of the game, Will Anderson Jr. vomits a pulsating ball of plasma and lightning on the first play and immediately dies. As the ball of lightning absorbs the body of D'Amico Ryans, C.J. Stroud takes a cat of nine tails and begins whipping his offensive line, ordering them to submit their wills to Zekroc, the new ruler of the celestial plane. May all cower at the mention of his name. Now, for Anthony Richardson, training camp gets off to a rocky start when he can't stop giggling at the last name of his offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter. After Shane Steichen forces Richardson to choke himself in front of the special teams as punishment, Anthony is seen speaking in gentle, quiet tones to a yardage marker on the sidelines. All right, next up, Witherspoon and JSN will bond by ripping apart a cover of Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time at Live Band Karaoke, but Seattle still manages to lose both games to San Francisco, yet they win the division because of stunning choreography. Now, Paris Johnson Jr., when he gets over to Arizona, Kyle Murray will spend the whole season sitting on his shoulders, which will give him an improved view of the field, but disadvantage on attacks of opportunity. Tyree Wilson will disappear into an auto graveyard outside the city limits, and Raiders will still sweep the Broncos. After their respective teams drafted running backs in the first round, Tyler Algier and DeAndre Swift fund a white hat hacker group which leaks all NFL memos and records about CTE, concussions, and player health going back to 1973. Roger Goodell immediately petitions the Supreme Court to allow the death penalty for nonviolent offenses. In Chicago, Darnell Wright experiences hospitality during his first visit to Wrigley Field when he is immediately cuffed and questioned by Chicago police, who insist he matches the description they just made up. In Tennessee, the Titan teammates of Peter Stronski are alarmed to find out that not only does Peter have another face underneath, but it's also exactly the same as their own. In Green Bay, Lucas Van Ness falls in love with a local librarian, will be gone from the league in 2 years, but lives the rest of his life content in Green Bay. Hello, MKI. Broderick Jones. Great decision by the Steelers to shore up the offensive line. And on his first major conference with the media, he tells them he's been preparing for day one by beefing up his ventriloquism skills, introducing everybody to his new friend, a sock with googly eyes named Torgo. And the overwhelming response from Steelers fans is that it's still better than Ben Roethlisberger. Outside of Meadowlands, Will McDonald finds a penny. Instead of an image of Lincoln, it has his own screaming face. He gets traded for Jack Campbell. Meanwhile, in Detroit, Jack Campbell requests an immediate trade when Dan Campbell shows up to the first team meeting dressed exactly like him. He goes to the Jets. Kalijah Kancey, when he arrives in Tampa Bay, ends up relieved that the rookies no longer have to choose one family member to be consumed by the quarterback. And Baker Mayfield, meanwhile, is shocked that the front office was prepared to let the policy stick around, and GM Jason Licht sits in his office watching Dude Perfect clips on YouTube. Over in, sorry about this, Angie. Over in Los Angeles for the Chargers, Quentin Johnson is put in the public stocks after he tries to help Mike Williams escape to Canada. Kenny Pickett will need to walk out of the team before their second preseason game, and they'll still get knocked out in the wild card round. Now, Zay Flowers. Oh, Zay Flowers. The Ravens did a good job here. Now, what's going to happen with him is that on a moonlit night, he'll be spotted standing naked in the stadium parking lot with Lamar Jackson and OBJ. Palms outstretched, necks craned to the sky. They'll begin to fade in and out of view, sometimes appearing with more limbs or misshapen heads, an occasional shriek or mad laughter smothered in a gurgle. All witnesses to the event will be found flayed to death behind a Jerry's Subs and Pizza. And the Ravens go 0-3 in the preseason. And Jordan Addison, when he arrives in Minnesota, has to be coaxed out from underneath the sink by Justin Jefferson, who assures him that there's no use in hiding and that there is just room for him. No one else. All right. Meanwhile, for the New York Giants, Deonte Banks gets 7 picks, 6 defended passes, and a great car insurance deal from Geico because he bundled with home, life, and flood. Dalton Kincaid is cut on day 2 of OTAs when he is caught drinking tea in the Bills' locker room. Mazi Smith reveals that he has actually been the real Inspector Hound this whole time and has remained in disguise to allow Jerry Jones enough time to implicate himself in the murder of Lord Wafflebottom. A motorized wheelchair flies through the air and decapitates Trevon Diggs. Meanwhile, on the Jacksonville Jaguars, Anton Harrison no longer dreams. When he gets to Cincinnati, Miles Murphy learns the baseline to walk on the wild side for 2-minute drills so he can calm the restless spirit of Lou Reed trapped in Joe Burrow's body. Brian Bisi managed to get Butler's 28 General Order 28 reinstated at home games, which tricks the state of New Orleans into legalizing prostitution. They become the epicenter of a new sex workers' rights movement, with Wisconsin milkmaids and Ohio glory hole attendants picketing sports events and holding sex education classes in local parks. Meanwhile, in Kansas City, Felix Henrique Uzoma meets a traveler from an antique land who tells him, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk a shattered visage lies, whose goofy smile and giant headband and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions red which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed." And on the pedestal these words appear: "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." So that's what I think is going to go down with all of the players and teams in the immediate future. I'm sure that my methodology can be improved. It's still improving just a little bit. No problem, Luke. Glad that I was able to help. And yes, I will be somewhat conscious for tonight's draft, but I don't plan on covering it at all. I may jump in to mod every once in a while, but otherwise, this is going to be it for me for streams until Monday. What do I use for the scoreboard? It's basically, I set the whole thing up in OBS. You know, I have a counter and a couple and a plugin or two that I use. If you ever want me to like show it off sometime, when I can fully explain how I do it, I could take care of that for you. Because there's a whole bunch of fiddly bits. Planning for next week, I know I'm definitely going to get back into the NBA and NHL playoffs. Try to throw in a baseball game in there as well. Maybe get a look at the Pittsburgh Pirates, because suddenly they are doing things in the National League when nobody expected them to. So that is a possibility. And of course, there will still be Ass Talk, stupid streaming show on Monday nights for the music. And other than that, I just have to take a look at schedules this weekend and find out what would be the best days and times and try to get that figured out. Like I said, I wanted to take this weekend to just work on behind the scenes stuff, because there's a whole lot of crap that I gotta clean up in here and on OBS. Plus, it would give me a good opportunity to, make a proper way to display how the scoring system I use works. But never mind that now. I think I'm out of things to say for today, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Yes, the bottom of the fifth still exists and will exist in perpetuity. That's going to do it. That's all I had to say for today on Ass Talk. Thank you for being here. I don't think the Leafs will collapse. They better not, or we're going to laugh at all of them. Yes. Good night, Angie. And good night, Milwaukee. Wherever you are. Take care, Dan.